Well, greetings, faithful followers. Welcome to another edition of Movie Night, live from the Monastery of Mayhem. I'm your host, Brother Jack Angry, along with Inferna,
hello,
my sexy sidekick, the Cougar from Hell. And tonight we've got three really, well, I'm not going to say they're totally bad, but they're on the high side of stink. But hey, they're still good anyway, and we enjoy bringing them to you here. Now, the first one is going to be Catwomen on the Moon.
Meow.
And that was, I'm sorry, that's Catwomen of the Moon. And that was a 1953 classic. And to give you a little bit of background on the movie, basically 5 astronauts travel to the dark side of the moon on a scientific expedition. There they discover a cave which somehow retains a breathable atmosphere. Imagine that.
Suppose they had their buddy figured that one out. Hey, dude, take your mask off.
Yeah, it's like, is he dead? No. Is he dead? No. Well, then it must be breathable then. But it's amazing how there would be just such a cave on the dark side of the moon, you know, that, oh, they could actually breathe in there. Anyway, after finding this cave, they find a buried city where the last members of a 2-million-year-old civilization greet them with food and drink. Does anybody else feel slightly suspicious of this? You know?
Cheese and crackers and wine.
Yes, it's like, or cat food, maybe?
Meow.
Yes. You know, they bring them a couple of mice on a plate.
Eat the tail, it's the best part.
Oh, it's like, Lord, give me strength. I'm not going there. Anyway, after these women greet them with food and drink, little do they know that these 8 lovely leotard-clad women are planning to steal their rocket ship. Now, okay, all right. Now,
all right, girlfriends.
Yes, it's like sisters doing it for themselves.
Let's go for a ride.
Anyway, it's like, I'm sorry, does anybody else think this is a little weird that a 2-million-year-old culture on the moon and they dress like they're going to a jazz recital? You know, it's like, what's next? Are they all going to be wearing little berets and sunglasses and going... Okay, it's like we can definitely tell this movie was made in 1958 because everybody acts like it's 1958. Now, this movie was originally supposed to be released in both 3D and 2D versions, but the 3D effects were kept to a minimum. The rocket ship from America is bound for the moon with Sonny Tufts as the commander, Victor Jory as the co-pilot, and this was not NASA and astronauts, no matter what any revisionists might seem to think. Marie Windsor played the navigator, and Douglas Foley played the engineer, with Bill Phipps as the radio man. Okay, now, well, I guess they've had bigger space shuttle crews, you know. Now, after landing in these caverns, it leads them to the signs of civilization. And since Jory has a gun and the non-astronaut space traveler, they find about a dozen attractive, some of them females, and this is all that is left of the original inhabitants. Just women, so it's like...
I'm sure they're happy.
Yes. Now kiss, girls!
Yeah.
Yes, it's like, you thought we weren't going to go there with that one? Come on. You know us better than that, faithful followers.
Or do a cat fight.
If you're going to do that, ladies, at least strip down and oil up first. But anyway, now Jory discovers that they control Windsor hypnotically. Never underestimate the power of the Poon.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, how are they hypnotizing him?
Yeah.
I think we all know.
They're aliens?
No.
Okay.
Anyway, yes, it's like, I'm not going to make any Whisker Biscuit jokes on this one. Sorry, it's like I refuse to. We do have some standards here. Not many, but we do have them. All right. Now, these women hypnotically control Windsor, one of the astronauts, and they plan to learn...
Like that?
I'm sorry, what were you saying? Oh, it's like, you got to stop doing that. I mean, I keep forgetting you have a head at this point. She does have a head, people. Who knew? Anyway, so basically here, they proceed to Earth, and where their plans are foiled, and, goodness always wins and the evil cat women of the moon are defeated and yada, yada, yada. You know how it goes. I mean, I really don't need to explain this to any of you people. But to give you a little trivia about the movie, the control cabin of the rocket and 2 of the spacesuits were recycled from another movie called Project Moonbase. We'll have to look that one up and see what that's about. And William Phipps told interviewer Tom Weaver, "When I saw the spaceship set, I thought I was working for Soupy Sales and that giant spider. They held it up with big ropes above us on the cave set and dropped it on our heads at the time. I thought it was the most outrageous, absurd thing in the world. How did spiders get on the moon? It was all just incredible. I thought, how can anybody put this in a movie?"
They came with the spaceship.
Well, the spiders may have been there beforehand. We don't know. I mean, they could have been on the spaceship and suddenly grew. Anything works. This is a bad movie, people. And remember, there are no bad movies, only bad audiences, to quote our dear friend John Dimes, a.k.a. Dr. Sarcophagi. Google it, people. You'll understand what I'm talking about.
A.k.a. Just so you know.
Yeah.
I had to do that little, A.k.a.
And Fern is going all hip-hop on us here, and pretty soon she's going to be wearing her damn hat sideways. And then we'll have to beat her some more.
Bling bling.
Yeah, well, it's like, you're talking...
Like with James Anger, you got to catch up with his bling
it's
bling.
like, we don't... Yeah, it's like that Junior Joan Collins. Anyway,
we talk about him like as if he died or something.
Oh, well, he's not
so
dead.
much.
He's just working right now, unfortunately. Some of the goofs in the film include basically when alone with Walt in the Gold Cave, the Catwoman Beta's voice is heard replying to his exclamation. She calls him Doug, and that's the actor's name, by the way.
That's what I call him all, Doug. Hey, Doug.
All right, and
Doug.
Doug.
Oh, your name's Doug. No, it's Jim. No, it's Doug.
Doug. Okay, it's like we're getting a little silly here, so back on track. Some of the goofs in the film, the rocket is portrayed as a white, thin, football-shaped, soft point, wider center, then back to a soft point with fins at the back. They shake off the meteorite that hits them right after they make contact with Earth. The ship is very pointed, now dark gray with a star on it, and the rocket engine is stopped. So they changed rockets mid-scene, people. Come on. Some of the factual errors in this movie, Laird borrows one of Helen's cigarettes and places it on the dividing line between the sunlight and darkness on the moon's surface in order to show what would happen if anyone or anything ventured onto the bright side. The cigarette immediately bursts into flames and disintegrates. First, people and objects suffer no adverse effects from the sunlight on the moon. Second, since the moon has no atmosphere, there's no way there could be any smoke or flames from the cigarette. So it's like, obviously the writers of this film didn't take high school science to know this crap. So it's like, anyway, no expense was spared in the writing of this movie, and way to go, people. Now, again, the one other thing that you might, you science nerds might notice by watching this film, when the ship is traveling through space, its rocket motors are running continuously. That don't fly. So it's like, that concludes...
Burnout.
Yeah, so that includes, this movie on our Reggie scale, we're going to give it a 3. It's like, it's a nice effort. The women are reasonably attractive. They're wearing their little tight leotards. And, but let's face it, it's no Star Wars. But these days, what is? So...
No Princess Leia.
There you go. That's enough of that crap. All right, now our next movie is going to be The Last Woman on Earth.
That's the way it should be.
Yes, it's like, and I think how many men would be superbly happy if there was only one woman left on Earth?
That would be... I changed my mind.
Yes, it's like, don't go there, don't go there. It's like, I shouldn't have went there, but I did, and I'm proud of it. So, if you want to write letters, you can email us at theangrybros@gmail.com. We dare you. But anyway, The Last Woman on Earth, and this is not to be confused with the Vincent Price classic, The Last Man on Earth, or The Omega Man, or that exceedingly crappy Will Smith version, I Am Legend. Sorry, we didn't like it, I liked Will Smith in Wild West and Men in Black, but to be quite honest, he kind of sucked in I Am Legend, but that's another review for another day, and we'll be getting that sooner or later. Now, with The Last Woman on Earth, to give you a little hint on the plot line, a rich man, Harold Gurn, played by Anthony Carbone, is busy making money and spending it just as fast. His newly married wife, Evelyn, played by Betsy Jones Moreland, and him are on their honeymoon in Puerto Rico. His lawyer, Martin Joyce, played by Robert Towne, a.k.a. Edwin Wayne, and I'll get to that later, is there too on business trying to get him out of a situation with the government. Now, how many of you people out there, if your butt's in a sling with the government, would you go to vacation in Puerto Rico? I certainly wouldn't.
I think they'd figure that out.
Yeah, it's like, if my butt was in trouble with the government, I'd be going to Mars or something to try and get away. But I guess they couldn't really do this on Mars. But anyway, I guess Puerto Rico works as well as anyone. Alright, basically they go snorkel fishing underwater, as opposed to snorkel fishing above water, but okay, where'd that come from? I have no freaking clue. They get into a small accident with a spear gun. They never say what. I mean, apparently nobody got shot with it because nobody comes out of the water bleeding or anything. Maybe they just couldn't get the damn gun to work.
Maybe he knew it was his last time to live or something.
Well, yeah.
That's why he went on vacation.
Suicide,
Kill me!
Suicide by spear gun. Here, shoot this up my ass.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Yeah, well, that's, oh, wait a minute, I forgot in Omaha you pay good money for that in some places. You know, it's like, all you fetishists out there. But anyway.
Continue.
Yes.
Oh.
I'm sorry, wait a minute. Down boy.
Here, let me do that for you.
Well, okay, well, I didn't need that anyway. Well, when the swelling goes down, we'll have to talk about that.
Yeah, it looks a little flat.
Yes, it does. Billy Bob, you okay? Speak to me.
He has a name.
Yes. Oh, good job there. All right. Boy, we are really kind of being silly today, but that's okay.
Need to be every now and then.
Yes, we do. Well, they go underwater fishing, and after a small accident with a spear gun, they all come up to the boat, and they remove their air masks and other apparatus, and just suddenly find they can't breathe. Keeping their air tanks back on, they go back to shore to find help. As they cross the jungle to get to town quicker, they run out of air. But they realize they're in the middle of a jungle, and holy shit, plants give off oxygen, so they're able to breathe without their air tanks. But when they get to town, they discover that once again, everyone, including the animals, are all dead. Now, a little bit of trivia here. The scene when they're crossing the jungle and realizing that everybody's dead from lack of oxygen, you can clearly see birds flying in the background. It's like, apparently the birds weren't on the payroll and they were just going to do whatever the fuck they wanted to anyway. So it's like, the birds needed to get a better union.
Oh.
Now, again, after they realize that everyone is dead, they realize that they don't want to deal with the stink and disease. But, you know, they're in a world without oxygen, so people aren't going to rot, and there's not going to be any stink or disease.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Yeah, odors can't travel in a vacuum,
bacteria.
people, and bacteria can't form without oxygen.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like, so there's two problems eliminated right there, but apparently these geniuses don't realize that. Again, nobody went to high school science, apparently. They decide to move into an abandoned villa that they find, and it's funny how that works out. There just happens to be a fully furnished abandoned villa laying around in the jungles of Puerto Rico.
Let's hope no fire breaks out, then they can't breathe again.
There you go. It's like, you know, or it's not a drug-growing den or something like that with a bunch of gun-toting Puerto Ricans around there.
Crates floating up to the ocean shore.
There you go. A couple of kilos of grade A grass come floating up. Of course, that would have made this movie a lot better. You know, it's like, yes, we're not above a little bit of herbage when it comes to making a bad movie better here at the Angry Brothers Omaha Shockorama, but We don't endorse the use of any illegal drugs, people.
I don't even know how I knew that.
Yeah, how did we know that? I don't know.
Shh.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you get those machine guns, by the way?
No, hide the shit.
Okay.
Flush the shit when you get the chance. Anyway, it's like after a time, things do go well for a time, but then they start realizing with only one woman and two men, the tension and the need for a woman begin to have its effect on the two men, and they get into a fight. Well, no shit, people. Really, you got a couple of testosterone-crazed Neanderthals running around lusting after the same well-built woman, and what did you think was going to happen? Just one of them was magically going to take up needlepoint and start singing show tunes?
That would be a fun show.
Yes, and we could get George Takei to be in that one. Oh my. But anyway, so eventually a fight breaks out between these two. Harold, the husband, hits Martin over the head with a rock and later with the butt of his gun. And I guess if you're going to be in a worldwide disaster, you're going to want to have a gun with you. So that's nothing new there. Now the concussion is too much for Martin, who can't take it anymore and eventually dies on his own. Let's face it, people, he just died to get out of this rotten movie. Now, Harold and Eve are the only people left on the planet, they've come to assume, and that's pretty much where the movie ends. It's like, he's probably thinking, holy shit, I gotta be with this for the rest of my life. And she's probably thinking,
holy shit, I gotta be at that the rest of my life?
no, where are my D batteries?
Oh, okay.
Don't forget, guys, men are only good for vehicle repair and yard maintenance. We're just 2 D batteries away from obsolescence.
That's why we call the pool boy or the milkman.
Hun, the pool boy and the milkman are all dead in this movie.
Oh, that's sad.
Basically, a woman's best friend is a pair of D batteries.
I know where you're coming from.
Yeah,
Too much whiskey.
Did you think we weren't going to go there either? Come on. Anyhow, all right, just some of the goofs in this movie, and there weren't many.
Thank God.
Yeah, it's basically this is a continuity error. Despite the fact that all of the oxygen was supposed to have run out, again, you could see 2 birds clearly seen flying around in the background when the survivors first go down to the beach. So like I said, the birds didn't have a good union, so they were going to do whatever the hell they wanted to anyway. Now this film was since it was directed by Roger Corman, and his practice was, when going on locations, to make the most of that by shooting a second film. The second film he was shooting in tandem with this one was Creature from the Haunted Sea, which is another classic from our good friend Roger Corman, and you'll be seeing that one on later editions of the show. Now, screenwriter Robert Towne hadn't completed the script by the time they started shooting in Puerto Rico, so rather than pay to have both an actor and a screenwriter on location, Roger Corman saved money by drafting Towne to act in the movie as the lawyer Martin Joyce under the name of Edwin Wayne. So, basically, the guy was not only an actor in the movie, but he was one of the screenwriters. I guess some people do anything for extra pay. And this film we're going to give 2 Reggies just because of the fact that it was so full of technical problems. We really can't go any more than 3, but it's still considered a gem of bad movies, and it's well worth the time. Let's face it, you're not going to get the hour and a half of your life back that it took you to watch it, but hey, it was worth it, because, you can sit there and the women are hot, and the action is reasonably good, and there's a few bits of humor in there that I haven't mentioned. I'll leave you to find out about that for yourself. But now our next movie here is one of the unsung classics of monster movies, and keeping with our theme of women and sisters doing it for themselves, this woman really does it for herself, or I should say, does it to herself. She's got no one to blame but herself in this one. Now, this is called The Wasp Woman, And by wasp, I don't mean white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. I mean a big insect, the long snout, the big bug eyes, the wings, and the big stinger in the tail. You get the idea.
Scary.
Yes, it is. Just imagine a fly on the fly on PMS.
Oh. That's really scary.
Yes, the PMS part is scary enough, but when you throw in the giant insect, it's like, yeah, that really goes above and beyond. And again, if any of you girls got anything to say, feel free to write us at theangrybros@gmail.com.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we dare you.
Yeah.
All right, now basically this movie, Janice Starlin, who's played by Laurie Cabot, the actress, she is the owner of a cosmetics firm and sees that her fading beauty is not only causing waves in her personal life, but it's causing some prestige problems in her also fading cosmetics business. She becomes an easy mark for pseudoscientist Eric Zinthrop. What do they call him? Dr. Zinn for short? Anybody see Johnny Quest and that little faggot Haji running around anywhere? I don't know, but it's like, tell me, yes, it's like, speaking of Johnny Quest, it's like, who sees something questionable in the relationship between Race Bannon and Dr. Quest? I mean, do we see some daddy issues going on there? Maybe a little bit of bear worship, who knows?
Oh my.
Yes. You've been awful quiet.
I'm just listening to you. You're funny.
Yeah.
That whiskey's hit me pretty hard.
Yeah, it's like,
I'm thinking I need a bottle.
Yes, we're going to be sobering Inferna up. I'll make the coffee when we're
Damn
done.
it.
Yes, can't have you going around. Who said you could enjoy life?
I have nothing else to do.
Well, that's true, and we're working on that, hon. Just keep a stiff upper lip. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, Eric Zinthrop, the pseudoscientist. He claims to have developed a serum made from the enzymes of wasps that will turn aging skin into youthful-looking skin, the second best thing to a time machine. And she, without any hesitation, agrees to be the first human subject to try the Zinthrop injections. But as her beauty returns, her secretary, Mary Dennison, and her advertising executive boyfriend, Bill Lane, notice that she's also having some personality changes, and it isn't for the better.
She's aggressive.
Yeah, what's the word for that? Oh yes, bitch.
I was going to say PMS, bitch.
Yes. Why don't we just flash that on the bottom of the screen? Bitch, 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 bitch. Well, we might cut that. We might cut that into the film. Who knows? Just to keep everybody on their toes. Anyway, these injections. Basically turn her into a half human, half insectoid, wasp-like creature with that's meaner than a yellow jacket hornet. Now, at this point in the movie, Eric Zinthrop gets hit by an automobile and promptly killed. So there's nobody to tell her about the side effects of these injections, and she proceeds to turn into this bug-eyed, murdering, ball-crushing bitch.
Kind of like Graves' disease, just go.
Kind of like my ex-wife, but that's neither here nor there. Oh, I love you, honey, and the check's in the mail. You look, are they buying it?
No.
I didn't think so. It's like, yeah, come and tell your lawyer to come and get me. I got nothing. But anyway, the film goes on where the wasp woman essentially kills and kills and kills, and she injects herself and her youth returns to everyone's amazement. There are some serious side effects that lead to death and destructive behavior.
So she doesn't stop taking them?
No, she doesn't stop.
Just continues?
Just continues and pretty much kills everybody in the immediate area.
She's enjoying it.
Well, now the founder and owner of the cosmetics factory, Janice Starlin, she's concerned that dropping sales and results in her country... well, wait a minute, I already mentioned this, so we're just going to go on from here. And to give you a little bit of trivia about the movie, this was Susan Cabot's last movie. She was actually bludgeoned to death in her home, and that case was never solved by the Los Angeles Police Department and remains open to this day. Now, the role of the beekeeper, played by Aaron Kincaid, that was added after the film's initial release, probably to tie it together and give it some type of logical order, but I don't think it worked very well, but it's still a good movie. Now, there was a director cameo from Roger Corman in there. He played a doctor in the hospital, and Corman was actually famous for this because his idol Alfred Hitchcock was known for, or I should say notorious, for doing character cameos in his various films. I can recall a scene from The Birds where the Tippi Hedren and Suzanne Plachette are sitting on a park bench talking about whatever issue, and there's an elderly gentleman sitting there feeding the birds next to him. That was in fact Alfred Hitchcock. And for those our friends out there who are fans of Marvel Comics, you know, myself being one, you can see Stan Lee making a lot of cameos in all of his movies. He makes at least one cameo in every movie. And, you know, and he'll usually throw out one of his famous phrases, such as Excelsior, enough said, and so on and so forth. But this is a time-honored tradition that many directors follow. Now, some of the goofs in the film, there was a scene here in one of the final scenes. A bottle of acid is thrown at Susan Cabot, and her reaction is that of throwing up her hands when the bottle strikes her. That she wasn't acting in that. A stagehand had filled a breakaway glass bottle with water, making it so heavy that when it struck her in the face, it did so with enough force to cause her a great deal of physical pain.
Ouch.
Yeah. Afterwards, she was interviewed afterwards, and I guess she had several large bruises on her face from it. And her words were, "I thought my teeth were being knocked out through my nose."
Oh my gosh.
So it's like, actresses got hurt a lot during this period in filmmaking, and a lot of it was by accident and or human error. There was also the fake smoke that was used to simulate the acid also choked her, causing her many respiratory problems. And there was a scene where she would fall in through a window. She tore the makeup off of her and some of the prosthetic appliances, and it also tore her skin as well, leaving a huge purple mark on her neck. There's some.
That was a hickey.
Yes, well, it's like.
Come on.
Yeah, well, it could very well be. Now, there was an issue where the glass of the lab door was broken, and it was covered with plastics in several scenes before the shot when it was actually broken. So you'll see a pile of broken glass covered with plastic. So it's like, again, no expense was spared in this movie. There's also a scene where the doctor is making guinea pigs younger to show Janice Starlin the effects of his youth injections. The position on the handle of the cage changes from shot to shot, so if you're real clever, you'll notice that as well. Basically, there's a scene where a male actor playing an employee attending a board meeting, he's seated on the right, later appears as a delivery man. So it's like everybody worked at least 2 jobs in this film. There's also a scene where Janice is giving the positive outlook to her board members in the conference room. The camera moves to the back of a large table, and you can clearly see the shadow of the camera and the crew member on one of the chairs. So again, it's like some people just don't know how to stay out of the lights. There are many numerous errors. I mean, I'm not going to read all of them here to you. But, the film is full of them, and make it a good drinking game. Every time you see a continuity error or some other fuck-up in this film, have a drink.
That's sad.
Yeah. It's like, see how many you can spot before you get totally wasted. Like me and Inferna, We should have did that while we were watching the movie,
How many times we fuck up?
Oh, no, not how many times we fuck up. It's like, we'd be unconscious before halfway through the thing. It's like, if that were the case, one of us would be dead from alcohol poisoning, and it would probably be me.
Oh, man.
I know, lightweight. Anyway, on our Reggie scale, we're going to give this 3.5, because, frankly, the premise is so out there, but they did do some good makeup effects for the wasp woman. There is a scene where the wasp, it's in one of the final scenes where the wasp woman, after the acid is thrown on her, you'll see her throw her hands up to her face. You can clearly see that the wasp hand is a glove that goes midway past the wrist, and the rest is just regular skin. Yes, kind of like this, people, but hey, you know, my longer gloves are in the laundry, what can I say? Anyway, you'll see that on the film as well. But hey,
I'm trying to turn you human.
yeah, it's like, and you're not doing a very good job. But anyway, so that concludes our show from Movie Night live from the Monastery of Mayhem here I'm Brother Jack Angry along with Inferna. And we do want to thank our friends at Indie Horror TV and the Horror Congress. And watch for this review on the Horror Congress website and YouTube channel. Next week, our movies, well, we'll have 3 more movies, but we won't tell you them. We don't want to spoil the surprise. But remember, friends, watch horror hosts, keep America on top. Thank you and good night.
Good night.
My God, these movies stink. It's like...
I am looking forward to watching them.
Yes, and we'll have
Sucks so much.
we'll have
Get
to
the alcohol.
There you go. We'll have to do that over a bottle of really bad whiskey, and every time we see something weird, we'll take a shot and see how far we get.
Okay. Let's see who can stay awake the longest.
That's right. Sounds like a plan. Just don't let me choke on my own vomit. I don't want to die like Hendrix.
Give me ideas.
Yes, it's like, well, all right. Well, good night, faithful followers.
Good night.